And then the Jets crushed the draft. Like, you had people leaving the draft, experts who were like, that's one of the greatest drafts I've ever seen. What? Tell me what happened. Was it shocking? What was it like to be there for this?
It was you have a chessboard, and usually the Jets are the ones playing from behind and just trying to play defense, and they were the aggressors, and it worked out exactly how they wanted. So speaking with those guys in the weeks leading up, it was, hey, if Sauce is there at 4, that's the pick. And at 3, the Houston Texans take a corner that isn't Sauce. So already that's a win for them. They're like, all right, they're going to take Stingley. We'll take Sauce. We're good. Then it was, we need to get Zach Wilson a weapon. Now,
wait, can you hold that for 1 second?
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't take Thibodeau when, Sal has that Niners DNA of like, it all starts with the pass rush? Wouldn't that have been like the classic Saleh pick, or was he not running this?
Sure. No, I think he would have been fine getting Thibodeau. I'll tell you that they had Jermaine Johnson as high as Thibodeau on their board.
Wow.
So Sauce to them at that point, corner is such a deficiency for them. They have nothing at corner. They were like, let's get that guy, bring him in. He could be the leader of our defense, who is 6'2". And I mean, that is their product. That's Darrelle Revis to them. If you're taking him 4th overall, that's how you view him. So they got him. Thibodeau wasn't there at 10. I think it would have been a conversation. Giants took him at 5, but it wasn't real debate there internally between Thibodeau and Sauce. They wanted the corner. So they get him. 10, they get Garrett Wilson.
How much is that we wanted the corner, just like we're not getting out of this conference without a shutdown corner?
I think that's what
like
it is.
90% of it?
I think that's a lot of it. I also think they looked at him as one of the true sure things in this draft. And for the Jets, they can't take a swing. They can't take any variables. Like Sauce to them was their guy. I'm not so certain. I think Hutchinson they would have taken if he fell to 4, but I'm not so certain they would have taken Sauce over Trayvon Walker also. That's how high they viewed Sauce going into this thing. So they get him, they get the receiver, and then that's when it really gets interesting. So if they had just gone to bed and said, all right, we got Sauce and Wilson, we got our top corner and one of our top receivers, great. But Jermaine Johnson, who the red flag that I only see is that his age, that he's 24, and he's got, a little bit more tread on the tires. They loved him. They had him as a top 8 guy on their board. So when he starts slipping out of the top 10, top 15, Joe Douglas is working the phones. He could not find a trade partner. They finally find one at 26. And I can tell you, like, they are way more ecstatic about getting Jermaine Johnson as a third first round pick than they were of getting the 4 and the 10, who they expected they'd get blue chip players. They viewed this guy, that they were at the Senior Bowl. They saw what he can do, and they love his journey because he went from, Minnesota high school to community college to Georgia to then Florida State. And then he bet on himself. He's like, I'm leaving Georgia where I'm not one of the top guys. I'll go to Florida State. And he was the ACC's Defensive Player of the Year. So they are thrilled about that. And then night 2, they had Breece Hall as a first round pick, as a top 32 guy. And he's a running back out of Iowa State. No running backs were taken. The rumor was that Houston was going to take him with the second pick of the second round. They call the Giants. They move around. They trade up. And they get in front of Houston and get Breece Hall, 1 pick before Houston. So to them, it's like, all right, 4 first-round picks. And then they get Ruckert, who's a kid from Long Island. He's from Lindenhurst. And he's like as Long Island as you get as their tight end, who will be their 3rd tight end, where they've got Conklin and CJ Uzomah. So
and yet,
they're very happy.
If Zach Wilson sucks, none of this means anything.
And that's it, Bill. Like, they're very happy, but they're also very, very aware of the situation. And I spoke to Saleh, after the draft, and he's like, yeah, we got great players, but we haven't done shit yet. Like, he knows. And Zach has to be good, and Mekhi Becton has to show up in shape because they passed on Ike Ekwonu and these other guys. Like, there's a lot of other things that have to happen for actual wins on the field. But for a brief weekend, it's nice to celebrate that there's some competence with the Jets.
I was thinking about the value of the draft now with how the market has shifted with free agents, where if wide receivers are just worth more than they used to be, that explains all the stuff we were talking about with receivers, right? Where the best thing you can possibly do now is to get one of these guys under a really set contract. And if you end up in a Jamar Chase situation where you have a number 1 superstar, but now you have him on this cheap, it's almost like the cousin of the cheap rookie QB. Yeah. So the inefficiencies in the draft now, like what are the overpaid positions when the guy's actually a free agent? Cornerback's number 1, right? JC Jackson, all of a sudden, $82 million, whatever. receivers another one. So it almost is like the draft reflected where the
That's
money,
absolutely
where
right,
the
Bill.
too much money has gone, right? So those cornerbacks going 3-4 actually make more sense than it would have
Yes.
5 years ago, right?
Yes. And if you look at what Houston's roster is, it's a blank slate. So they say, okay, we got Tunzel as one of our tackles. We don't really have much other talent. We're not going to take another tackle, which is what everyone mock draft them to have. And they preferred Stingley over Gardner. So they took him and they're just like, all right, throw daggers where you want. We're paying him rookie money right now. And we look at him as a number one corner. Jets did the same thing. And then the Chiefs move up to get McDuffie. They felt the same way there. And, I don't know if, and it's funny because a lot of people told me that both J.C. Horn and Pat Surtain were ranked higher than Sauce and Stingley. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't.
Yep.
It's not one thing's equivalent to the other because it's a different draft class. So whether or not they thought Ike Ekwonu was going to be great, Houston was like, no, we want a cornerback because we have our tackle. We're paying him that money. We're not paying two tackles that money. We'll go and we'll do that and we'll spread it out and we'll have our corner for the next 4 years before we got to pay him.